had you dealt with Paul before with Triple H? Had you dealt with him before this at all?
Never. I'd heard from a few people that did, and before I ever spoke to him, they told me that he was a very honorable guy, and he was a very sincere guy, and I had heard these things, but I didn't know him. I only knew him as the wrestler Triple H, but I didn't know him personally in any way, much about him or anything. So, but those 7 months of conversations, the different things with him, I remembered what I'd been told about him, and I was convinced that this guy, he loves the game, he loves wrestling, and he wants it to be family friendly. I got that very clear from him, and I must take my hat off to the guy. And not only that, but in all honesty, I've been very critical of Vince McMahon because he was the big man, the big boss behind it all. But I was also told that by Dr. Maroon and others that he too was very sincere about changing the product to make the proper changes. So I don't know if Paul is the one who convinced him or the two of them together. I don't know. The point is though that I was critical of them during that period, but I must praise them today for making the game more family friendly. I love that, and so everything for me right now is fine, and I'm happily going into this Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and you mentioned Vince. Do you think you'll meet with him before the Hall of Fame?
With Vince, you mean, or?
Yeah, with Vince.
No, from my understanding with Vince is that the night in the garden at the Hall of Fame, that he and I probably will have a private meeting and see what happens.
Yeah. And you've worked up, for both Vince and his father. You've worked for several other, many other promoters. And Triple H, is kind of in line to take over the company one day when Vince decides to step down. With your dealings with Triple H, how do you see the future of WWE under his direction?
Oh, I'm convinced that it'll just keep getting better. I really believe that, because all the conversations I've had with him convinces me that he really wants it to be the best that it can possibly be, and he wants to do everything in his power to make it the best. He wants it to be, like I said, very family friendly, and he wants to bring back some of the old school type wrestling. I mean, listening to him, I am very convinced that the product will get